for this last section, I've underlined the keywords. You need to find the length of each arc. Leave your answer in terms of pi. Alright, so there's two ways we can do that. And I'm going to put the formula to help you do that over here on the side margin. So I can use your proportion that was on your notes. And the proportion to find the arc length, because it's not degrees anymore, it didn't say measure of degrees, is basically your angle to your arc, it's degrees, over 360 is equal to x over 2 pi r. So you can do the proportion, so plug in your parts, okay? Or you can take the circumference, which is the 2 pi r, times the angle over 360, okay? And I'll show you each method, and you pick which one you like the best. So the first thing you need to make sure you do is fill in the given information and fill in the missing information using what's given. So they're pointing to this angle is 30 degrees. We know that's 90 degrees with the box. ST is a diameter, so it cuts the circle in half. So this other part here would be 90, because together that would be 180. And then to find our missing angle here, I would have to do 180 minus 30, which is 150. So this angle is 150. And remember, if I'm dealing with the degrees, yes, what's on the inside goes on the outside for degrees, but we're trying to find the length. So the length is then with units. That's when we're going to use our formula. So if I'm finding the arc length of SV, here is SV here. If I do my formula, the degrees for that piece, that pi piece, I'm trying to find the length of the crust, is 30. So I write 30 degrees over 360 equals x over 2 pi, and then I need the radius. The radius for our circle is 5 centimeters. So we're going to plug that in, which every time we're going to use this 5, so we can simplify and see that the radius, or the circumference, excuse me, is always going to end up, because we're going to multiply our numbers together. So we have basically 30 over 360 equals x over 10 pi. Now, we're leaving our answers in terms of pi again. I went ahead and circled that up here. That means you're going to keep the pi in your answer just like we did on the problems previously. So if we're just cross multiplying here, when 30 times 10 pi, that would leave you with 300 pi. And then we're saying 360 times x equals 360. Now we're solving for x. Oh, I forgot the x. So we divide by 360, divide by 360. The x gets isolated. And now we're just simplifying this. So when we simplify that, we're really just simplifying the 300 over 360. And the beauty of this is you can just go straight to your calculator. 300 divided by 360. It will reduce. There it is. So we keep that as our coefficient. So this becomes 5, 6, and then we keep pi in our answer. So that's our final answer. That is our arc length. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a 11. That is dealing with arc length UV. So here's U to V. It is going to be this arc. Now, if I went in the other direction, this would make sense because that would be a major arc. And UV, two letters, means it's minor. So basically, we're just adding these two pieces together. So I have the 30, 90, that gives me that angle for that arc, which is 120 degrees. That's not our answer. That's just the degrees we use in the formula. Now, we can use our formula, which is 120 over 360 equals x over 2 pi r. Or basically, we already know what the radius is every time. So 2 pi 5, which we know when we multiply, we're always going to end up having, for this problem, these set of problems, 10 pi. Yes. Or we can use this other formula. So I'm going to kind of erase some of this to make some room. Hopefully you got that answer. Or I can say 2 pi r times the angle degrees over 360. We already know our radius is 5, so 2 pi times 5 gives me 10 pi times the angle, which is our 120 over 360. So basically, I'm going to simplify this first, and then, so if we don't see it, I'm hoping you can always go to your calculator. But we can cancel the zero. That's basically saying 12 over 36. So that's a third, okay? So I have 10 pi, and I'm multiplying it by a third. That means I'm multiplying the top to the 10, keeping the 3 at the bottom. So I'm just putting these together. Or let's say you weren't too sure. There's your third times 10. There it is, okay? 10 thirds. So our answer is 10 thirds pi. And that's it. All right, so now we're doing arc length, of SUT. Now SUT is a major arc, so I go from S to U to T. It's actually a semicircle there. So we already know it's 180. So if I have 180, I'm going to use the other formula. I know the circumference is 10 pi times 180 over 360. Well, that you should hopefully see is real simple. Half of 360 is 180, so I have 10 pi times a half. What's half of 10? There we go, 5 pi. And we are done. Okay, so I'm going to leave 19 through 21 for you to complete. Make sure you get done. I'm going to check for those. And then I'm going to help you kind of get you started on the 22. So they want us to figure out one complete rotation. So if I travel from here all the way around, what angle, what degrees is that? Yeah, that's 360. So they want us to figure out one complete rotation for the hubcap, and the hubcap is here in the center right here. So that represents the hubcap. Oops. And then a complete rotation for the tire. Well, the tire is the whole part right here. Well, in order to do that, I need to know the circumference. The circumference of the hubcap, circumference is 2 pi r. So our circumference would be 2 pi times the radius, which is 3, which is 6 pi. So this is our circumference. Now all I gotta do is take that circumference, multiply it by, well, the angle, which is 360 over 360. Well, what's happening when you do 360 over 360? Yeah, it's just 1. Well, anything times 1 is itself, so our length of rotation is 60 pi for the hubcap. And then the radius for the tire is taking this 3 and adding it to that 8. So the radius of the tire is 11. The circumference of the tire would be 22 pi. And then we know we're just timing it by 1 because one rotation would be 1. So here is the circumference. All right, get that done. Be ready for your check tomorrow.